Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, I must congratulate the organizers for taking up a highly relevant issue for discussion in this conclave. And surely being part of the last panel sometimes is a challenging one because so much of the thoughts which you have already discussed and which were on the agenda to be discussion. But still, I'll try to do justice with the few minutes which have been granted to me. So, the topic, of course, is need of quality in the education. And this topic has so much of allied areas of discussion and so many challenges to be understood. Being in the education sector since last now almost 23 years, have given some understanding and insights that how the education system of our country has changed in last almost 3 decades. And in the private sector specifically, the focus somehow has shifted from the degrees to the skill enhancement, which I am very sure is a positive shift. And I'm very sure all of us who are sitting here and representing the private education sector will recognize that without understanding, without going into the insights, and without even realizing the challenge of inculcating skill amongst our students in the courses which we are offering, whether they are the engineering courses or the other vocational courses and the management programs, definitely either the institutions will become obsolete or the programs will become obsolete. And the only survival mantra has to be the enhancement of the skill, value additions, and of course making our students corporate ready. But it is definitely easily said than done, of course, because so much of the efforts and multidimensional efforts are needed to generate that skill enhancement. And again, when I say skill enhancement, it will be very shallow if it will not be driven by the values. So I have always believed that the education which we impart to the students, irrespective of the program and the degree, has to have the component of the value-driven education, with, of course, topped up with the skill enhancement so that we can make our students corporate ready. And unfortunately, the current breed of the youngsters, they are going away from the values. I'm sure all of us must have witnessed this change. And sometimes it becomes very much shocking that during the interviews which we conduct for the students for the selection process in our institution, and we ask them that why do you want to pursue this particular program, and their answer comes very clearly with the confidence that I want to get a good job, I want to make money. And of course, that's the ultimate focus of the life of the youngsters which we are producing in this society. Without having any focus on the skill enhancement, they really feel that by acquiring this XYZ degree, they are going to get a job in the market. And here I remember one small incident. I was fortunate listening to Dr. Kalam thrice, and in one of such instances, in the similar conclave, I asked one question to him that, sir, kindly guide us, the teaching fraternity, that how we can motivate our students. And his one single sentence answer was that the small ambition is a crime. And unfortunately, this crime is being committed by our youngsters. They are very happy with the small ambitions, aspirations. They are not going for the wings which have been provided to them. And here comes the role of the teaching fraternity. It is the job, task, and responsibility of the teaching and the academic fraternity to make the youngsters to realize how vast they can spread their wings. How much is the role of being aspirational in our life? How much is the role of thinking big? How much is the role of thinking that sky is the limit? And unfortunately, within the institutional setup, we confine our students within the silos, within the boundaries, and tell them that, okay, getting the first job of your life is your greatest achievement. I'm very sure the moment will make our students to realize their potential. We will give them the wings to fly. We will make them confident to have this realization that sky is the limit for us. I'm very sure the academic fraternity will be fulfilling its responsibility. And of course, that responsibility can't be fulfilled only with the talks also. We have to have the concrete measures which are adopted within the organization. Obviously, the management institutions or the engineering institutions, they are the facilitator of employability in the market. They are the facilitator of the quality which we provide for the resources which are needed in the corporate sector. How seriously we are taking our business, that's important to be realized. Are we really taking employability as a serious business? Are we really considering that how much efforts are needed for making that corporate readiness a reality? So obviously here comes the role to understand the market conditions, the recent scenario prevailing in the market, and in the current VUCA environment, which is so volatile, highly uncertain, and of course, the complexity levels which we are witnessing currently can't be higher than this. And of course, highly ambiguous environment in which we all are performing. In this VUCA environment, it is the only one single survival mantra for the students even, that they have to have the agility. And obviously, the market is looking for the agile leaders. So the important task for each one of us sitting here who are in the academics, that we have to create that agile environment within our organization. We have to produce the pedagogical innovations in such a manner that we are creating agile leaders. And as per very recent study, I was just going through in Forbes magazine, the previous issues, and has been published by changewise.com, highly recognized consultancy firm. And they have come up with the one parameter that the 4 types of leadership agility levels are there in the market. And out of those 4 agility levels, what exactly is the real scenario prevailing in the market? So the very first agility level of leaders has been the pre-experts, who are in the leadership positions, but they are not realizing why they are there. There is no vision, no structured focus on creating the results, but still they are there. And unfortunately, in the pre-expert level of agility, still there are 10% leaders who are acquiring senior positions in the corporate and of course in the other sectors, as per that research. And the second level comes of the expert agility level of leadership, in which of course the focus is only on the supervisory skills. The focus is only to create certain works done in such a manner that the micro perspective has been achieved. No focus on vision, no focus on realizing that what can be the long-term repercussions of a particular task accomplished. So obviously those are just supervisory leaders who are accomplishing the day-to-day monotonous tasks. And unfortunately, as per that research, 45% leaders worldwide are of this particular expert level. And then comes the next level, that is the achiever level of agility, in which the focus is on the strategic orientation, undoubtedly. The focus is on achieving the results. The focus is on understanding the external environment and aligning your goals as per the external environmental conditions. And definitely that is a desired leadership agility which is needed in the market today. And there are 35% leaders who are acquiring this level of agility as per that research. And then comes the ideal level as per that research, that is the catalyst level of agility, which is focusing on visionary focus and the facilitator focus. in which they are considering the whole organization as the facilitation of achieving the objectives and goals of the organization, in which they are treating the whole resources of the organization as the team, in which their focus is on L&D, learning and developmental policies of the organization, and then aligning their focus with the external environment. But of course, that is an ideal agility level which is needed amongst the leaders. And still, it is a happy news that there are 10% leaders still, as per that research available in the market. Now the question comes that this understanding has to be taken into consideration by the academic institutions when we are breeding the leaders within our campuses. We have to realize and understand that are we focusing on those competencies when we are creating the degree holders? Are we really putting our efforts to create that agility level of catalyst level in which the leaders which we are producing by giving the management education are having that facilitative orientation in which they can align their strategic acumen with the external environmental changes? And obviously that calls the urgent need for pedagogical innovations within the campuses. We have to realize that the pedagogy which we are following currently might not be producing these kinds of the leaders. And here I remember that only last year I was in the Harvard campus for one program that was the leadership in higher education system. And the different participants of that particular group gave us so many insights. And during that 1 week interaction with the experts from the different countries who were participating in that program, one case study was discussed in which one case was of the Finland as a role model, in which they have transformed their agriculture-based economy into R&D economy only by focusing on their education sector. That how they have transformed in a span of 20 years the Finland into a country in which the quality of education is considered one of the best nowadays. And of course, focus has been on the pedagogical innovations. And of course, those insights, if implemented in our country, we are not far behind. I'm so pleased to share that the current buzz in the market, the developmental policies of the government, has definitely created the interest amongst the global universities for the Indian education system also. I have been, in fact, given the task by one of the universities of Brazil to develop a customized program for their students. This is just for the reference of everyone sitting here, the third largest state university of Brazil, in which they have invited to conduct a 30 hours module for their students, and next month I am going there. So the course has been the marketing, planning and management, in which they have added specifically that the focus has to be the Indian scenario. Every case which I have developed has been based on the Indian scenario, and they have told that this particular course is going to be offered only to those students who are willing to go to India and pursue their career tomorrow. And they are the Brazilian students only. So obviously the interest has been generated. We are having so much of the strength of the education sector in our country. And I'm very sure that all of us, if we'll take these insights into the consideration while designing the curriculum, while going for the updation of the curriculum, of course can give lots of transformational changes to the education sector of our country. So let's join hands together. I'm very sure the day is not far off when the Indian academic fraternity will be acclaimed throughout the world, because we have so much of the strong value systems, and that is driving our education system. Thank you very much. Thank you.